fresh.
Fresh. I don't know about fresh. I don't know about fresh.
And ready to talk quite a bit of real estate. And he's brought along someone who needs absolutely no introduction. When the cameras go on, you will see esteemed appraiser Woody Fincham, who I just found out today in another life was a master chef. This is a Renaissance man.
Master? No. Chef? Yes.
Talented chef?
I think so.
Who's the, what's your favorite, I'll save this question for you when the cameras come on. Your favorite programming, cooking or chef related? Have you seen The Bear on Hulu?
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing,
enjoyed
right?
that. And it really shows the dysfunction of most kitchen relationships. It's great.
Authentic.
Well, heck, all you got to do is watch or listen to Bourdain and know that.
Bourdain's first book was my Bible when I was in culinary school. That and Thomas Keller's cookbook.
There we go. I absolutely love it.
When we go live, I'm going to ask you a chef question.
All right.
We'll talk about that. Judah Wickower is behind the camera. Keith Smith is in the house. Keith Smith is in the house. Keith Smith.
Thank you. It's good to be
in the
back.
house. It's great to have you back. Judah Wickower, my friend, we can rock and roll when you are ready. Let us know when we should be quiet on the set. Oftentimes we listen to you. Sometimes we do not.
Excuse me? Oh, my hearing aids aren't on. I'm sorry.
He's got the microphone in front of him at least, Keith.
No. I refuse.
Keith is back. Mr. Mischief is back.
I refuse. Could use a few more hours of sleep.
Yeah. What are you, red eye? Did you red eye?
No. We didn't get it. Oh, we're supposed to be quiet, aren't
Here we go. We're about to go.
we? Too late.
Good Friday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and thank you kindly for joining us on Real Talk with Keith Smith. This show, anywhere you get your social media and podcasting content. And today's show is very much one I've been looking forward to with Keith Smith back in the house. You will see him in about 10 seconds, sun-kissed and fresh from St. Martin, 38th or 39th wedding anniversary.
38th.
His 38th wedding anniversary, he just celebrated with his better 7/8, the fabulous Jonas Smith. We also have Woody Fincham in the house. I found out moments ago that Woody Fincham was a talented chef at one time before becoming arguably the top appraiser in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Judah Wickower behind the camera. Let's go to the studio shot and then a 3-shot. First we say, good morning, Keith Smith.
Good morning. Good morning. Is that what this is? Is it morning? Don't
It's
know.
morning. Well, I mean, isn't St. Martin on the same time schedule?
Total of time, same time schedule. We just didn't get in until 3:30 in the morning. So we're I'm a little bit, got to get this caffeine rolling to get going. Maybe have to go over to the bar to kind of.
Did you bring some rum home?
I did. I'll tell you.
Amazing.
I'll tell you
We should have had some.
how late.
You forgot it.
I didn't forget it. I was just trying to get up and get out the door and maybe do a little bit of data because there's a real estate show on that stuff. But so we just came from eating really well for a couple of weeks, and we're very blessed to be able to do that. And some of our the friends that we stay with, they're chefs, and they own 2 French restaurants.
Oh, nice.
So, what is your favorite meal to make? If you've got nothing but time, what is your favorite meal to make?
That's like picking your favorite child. I mean, I do a lot of brisket lately. Everybody really likes. I'm not a big fan of brisket one way or the other, but got a smoker during COVID, and like every.
Not a fan of brisket.
No, it's okay. I can eat it, but it's just
Why not?
It's a little rich.
Yeah.
A lot of fat.
Yeah.
But I know. I guess I don't know. Let me think about that for a second, Keith. I'll give you an answer here in a minute.
Yeah. So I've learned from my chef friend, family friend, that they're like family. We just been going to the same place for 13 years. He taught me how to make an actual omelet, a real French omelet.
It's hard to do.
It is really hard to do.
The Inn of Little Washington up in Rappahannock County, most people know about it. It's one of the first American restaurants to ever get Michelin stars.
Yeah.
And Patrick O'Connell, the chef there, he's reworked the whole culinary scene. That's their test for you if you want to go there and do your externship out of culinary school. If you can't do a French omelet, they will not hire you.
Unbelievable. And I can tell you, after 2 weeks, I didn't make it. And he was very kind, but he kind of pushed me out of the way and put together an omelet and said, "Here, eat this." But
How about Woody Fincham's favorite chef-related or food-related content? TV show, movie, anything like that?
I think the biggest thing in the zeitgeist out there would probably be Bourdain's No Reservations.
Yeah.
Miss that guy immensely. I mean, meant a lot to me in culinary school. I've, seen him talk a couple of times. He's doing his speaking tours. Just, phenomenal outlook. And he makes the world smaller, with what he was doing, because food's all about, being collegial and sitting with people. So it really opens up things, I think.
Well, I'll get.
Do you have a favorite, Keith?
Favorite? You know what? I've been watching the Steve Tucci.
Well,
Stanley Tucci?
Stanley Tucci.
Yeah.
My Italian side of me kind of got a little excited about
It's a
it.
good show.
It's a good show, and he does these often beaten path regions, right? So my family is from Puglia, which is Bari, which is not very many people know about, not many people go. It's where the Achilles tendon is of the boot, right? It's very south on the other side, and it's the fish there is to die for.
Excellent.
But anyway, now I'm hungry.
Well, I'll mention one last one. Somebody feed Phil. Phil is the producer from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
And the showrunner, and he goes around all kinds of places. The guy dances when he's eating.
he's awesome.
It's awesome to watch.
He's awesome. I love The Bear. Woody's seen that on Hulu. Huge fan of Ratatouille, the movie. I can watch with my kids.
So our last meal we go to is to this really classic French restaurant, and he makes ratatouille for me. and that is like the French omelet, not to get off on a geek thing here about food.
Sure.
But to make a really good ratatouille is very difficult to do.
Tell us about your trip, Keith.
Yeah, it was good. We Yona and I work quite a bit, and this is our going away to reconnect and celebrate our wedding anniversary. And as I tell people all the time, if we don't do this every year, we won't have a 39th year, because she'll finally get tired of me. and we will not be able to say we've been married for 39 years, working together for 37 years. But it's like going home, right? For us, it's like going home. And this trip was a little extra special because our French friends finally, after 12 to 13 years, felt comfortable enough to introduce us to their local restaurateurs, right? And it was really cool. We got to really see this firsthand on it. So it was a lot of fun.
Favorite part of the trip?
Oh, this is going to be really, really. This is the favorite part of the trip is holding my wife's hand and spending time with her. Really, my favorite part of the trip.
Favorite part of the trip at St. Martin? That's very romantic and very touching. I appreciate that.
It's being with Yona. The swimming, the eating. It is true. Spending time with Yona is my favorite part of the trip, and it's great food. If you like to eat, it's great food. We like the sun, so it works out. It's really nice.
It's awesome.
Actually, I'll tell you, favorite part of the trip, we did something different this year. So every time we go, we try to do something different. We went to a different island called Saba, or Saba, depending on how you pronounce it. And it's the tallest point in the Netherlands. It's a Dutch-owned island. And there's a hike, a 4,000-foot hike in 1.5 miles. And
that's a lot of elevation.
Us two crazy old people decided to go hike this. They fly in. It's the shortest commercial airport in the world. They fly you in, and we hiked all the way up to the top and hiked all the way back down with a bunch of 6 other very young Californian kids. And we beat them up and beat them down. So maybe that was my best part of the trip.
Keith Smith, Jonas Smith,
a little bit
Troopers.
competitive.
Phil McChesney, Jesse Rutherford, Supervisor Nelson County, hello. Thank you for watching. Councilor Lloyd Snook, hello. Michael Guthrie, hello. Neil Williamson,
Thank you, Michael.
Kibasa Chico, we love you, Neil. Andre
Thank you,
Xavier,
Neil.
Brandon Harrop, I believe on vacation. Ellie Tucker, Tripp Stewart, the prolific investor. Andy Zeman, the talented broker. Ray Cadell. Just to name a few, Seth Liskey, the Stantonian real estate investor, and Donna Patton, a few names we're rattling off that are watching the program. Gentlemen, What kind of market are we in right now?
A strong one. I mean, it's
We're at the halfway marker, basically, of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's been up to this point, I think, a really good year. I know we've stayed busy with our mortgage lending work and among other types of work, but I mean, the VAs, I've got 8 or 9 VAs in my pipeline all the time.
We're going to talk about probably a little bit later, the most challenging things you're seeing now. Is this market a little bit different than last year from
Sure.
your perspective? But in my Bob Barker, is that what we're calling these?
Bob Barker?
Bob Barker card. I did a little quick numbers this morning. So we're about, 10 days away from the end of the month. 2024 car footprint year to date. So that's from 01124 to 62124. This is all types of property. This is attached, detached condos, and it includes new construction. So at the moment, there have sold and closed 1,604. 8 days with the average on market, and we're going to talk about 2021 here in a minute. But there's 630 impending, and let's remember that number. That's 630 impending, right? Last year, same time frame, was 1,668. So we're approximately about 4% off, or 64 transactions. So with 630 pending in the next 10 days, I'm pretty sure we're going to either match or exceed the amount of transactions. And we did the end of the quarter of last year. Jerry, we were talking about that we were thinking maybe it might be a little bit below, and it is going to probably be above. Here's the numbers end of it. 460 is the median sales price, so that's everything across the board. Last year it was 430, so that's 4.5% increase. So the last time we were in about 1,600 transactions was 2017. Sales price was 287, so we're 46% up from that.
That tracks.
The biggest transaction year was 2021.
Yeah. Peak COVID.
Exactly, 2,306. So we're roughly at the moment about 36% off. I think we're going to probably be somewhere in the 33% once we get towards the end of the month. But we're
Or a third off peak COVID.
roughly a third, right?
Makes sense, though. That's a once-in-a-generation market.
And but
Compare that number to 2019.
So 2019, I do not have 2019. You would have to X the number I don't
How
have.
about 2018?
I got 17.
What's 2017?
1,647. So 16 and 17. So we've been talking about this for a while, right? This market, as far as volume goes, feels like a 16, 17 market more than a 19. 19, I think we were a little bit higher. I can look at that real quick.
It's a more aggressive market, though.
Very much so.
What is that? Put that in perspective.
I mean, the competition's fierce. We still don't have enough inventory for all the buyers. I mean, and we're seeing a lot of non-owner occupied buyers buying in. I mean, I've got out-of-state investors hiring us to do diligence appraisals on things they're putting into their portfolio, and they're buying 2 or 3 of them at a time.
Damn.
So, but I mean,
and
rents are
converting
high.
them to what? Rentals?
Just keeping them as long-term rentals. They're looking at they have a 10-year game basically, and they'll probably offload them in about 8 to 10 years, depending on it. And if rents stay as high as they are, then
They probably hold.
oh yeah.
So you asked me what I like the most about the trip, and truly it's holding Jonas' hand and spending time with her. What I really love about it is all the people you meet.
Okay.
And you meet all different walks of life, different countries, but particularly on the American side, there's usually a couple of questions everybody asks each other, right? Where you from?
Yeah. What are you drinking?
No.
I'd ask that question. Woody, you might ask that question.
Probably.
Actually, there's a version of that. Where you from? Where you're staying?
Okay.
How long have you been coming to the island?
Okay.
What's your favorite restaurant, which is kind of the drinking end of it. And then there's always the question, so what do you do? We talk more real estate for 2 weeks. It's like show after show after show after show. And we're very blessed. We end up making great connections. We already did a couple of referrals from around the country, back and forth. So
Nice.
we're talking to people and refer them out to folks out in California, Arizona. But the reason I wanted to do these numbers this morning and really have this conversation with you today, a lot of the bigger markets are not seeing these gains.
No, they're not.
They're seeing gains in numbers, but their volume's plummeting.
Yeah.
Plummeting down.
People want to be here. I mean, Charlottesville's a wonderful place to be.
And you have like Phoenix. I was talking to somebody in Phoenix. You and I talk about this all the time. So the Black Rock or whatever what is the name of
Blackstone?
Blackstone.
Yeah.
Black Rock.
My wife's former employer, Lori Fincham, the beautiful Lori Fincham, Woody Fincham's better half said Julia Childs is one that Woody Fincham has an appreciation for.
Yeah, we can't talk about food without talking about Saint Julia.
Yona and I tried
Julia Childs. Thank you, Lori Fincham.
Yona and I tried to cook through her book, The Joy of Cooking. Didn't go so far.
Yeah, Lori reminded me just a few minutes ago. My favorite stuff to cook is vichyssoise, which is potato leek soup.
Yep.
And coq au vin.
Coq au vin.
Wow.
Chicken with red sauce. So.
Which is very simple,
Yeah.
but extremely hard. It's like a martini. It's very hard to make.
Yeah, to do it right, it really is.
What's the meal of choice?
What do I like to eat?
If you had anything you could pick.
Lori learned how to make my mom's vegetables beef soup and also her potato stew. And they're both, anytime I have it, I think of my mom. So, and that's where my love of food comes from, is from my mom. She's from a big family, farm family, and, she was always a good cook, and her mother as well. So, I think of them, because of that. And, it's really cool that she learned how to do that.
So that followed with a 3-ounce pour of Pappy, age 10, 15 years?
If you can get your hands on it,
If you
sure.
can find it.
Yeah.
What did that set you back about? 1,500 to get something like that?
Well, if you win,
$750?
if you can win the lottery for the Virginia ABC, it's about $400 to get
Yeah.
23.
That's challenging, though.
Yeah, that's the only way I'm going to pay that much for it.
Right. But how about off-market? Is it not off-market? The secondary market as well?
Yeah, the secondary black market, as we have to call it here in Virginia, because it's actually illegal to sell them
It's like
here.
1,500, right?
At least 23 I've seen it as high as $9,000.
Oh my goodness gracious. Holly Foster watching in Henrico, she says on YouTube, Keith looks very relaxed, very tan. Welcome back, Keith Smith. Been away myself and only catching the 12:30 show at night before I go to sleep, but she's happy to have you back
Thank
on
you.
her computer monitor in Henrico.
Thank you. Yeah, we still got the kind of vibe going yet, but my phone did start ringing at 7:30 this morning, so that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Real estate, right?
Pardon?
It's real estate.
That's a very good thing.
Well, it was a problem, so but we fixed it on the ride in. So you wanted to look at 19, right? Just out of curiosity.
Just out of curiosity.
Out of curiosity.
I'd like to see how this market compares volume-wise to 19. Because your colleagues can still make a fantastic living because the price point per unit is astronomically higher 5 years today versus 5 years ago.
All righty. So same setup, right? Car footprint, all the product types attached, condos, new construction. There was 1892, so we're at 1604. There was 1892. This is year to date. This is today, so we're not counting the last 10 days out there. Median sales price was 309 versus 460. So I can't do the math that quickly, but I can do it. I've got a little calculator that will tell me what the percentage difference is.
Good morning to you, Johnny Ornalis.
Hey, Johnny. Johnny, you're on my call list today, brother.
He says, morning, gentlemen. He's watching the program right now. You're cracking 2019 data. Jamie Turner, hello. The Gordonsville real estate investor repping the Pep and Culpeper right now.
Yeah, so we are 39.271781534446%. We'll call it 40% for a talk show above median sales price than we were 2019.
Wow.
But the volume,
46%?
we're up I apologize, 40%. My apologies.
In 5 years, values have increased 40%.
17 was 46. So between 17 and 19, we jumped 6% difference. So there was a huge jump between 19. That's the reason you wanted to look at it. But the volume was closer to 1892 versus 1604. So I think we're going to settle out with 630 impending in 10 days. My suspicion is we're probably going to be somewhere north of 1,700 transactions, which will beat last year's.
Ned Galloway watching on LinkedIn.
Hey, Ned.
Welcome back, Keith.
Yeah, Ned, thank you for covering, brother.
Look at that tan, Keith, he says.
No, he didn't say that.
No, he said, look at that tan with 3 exclamation points. I'm literally, you should, the guy's wearing some bottom huggers for shorts over here, like he's at St. Martin's over there, showing a little thigh. I don't know if we want to go to the studio camera and show him what he's got over there. Are those sandals you're wearing, Keith Smith? This might be the most relaxed attire I've ever seen for the distinguished gentleman. Can we show him? Is his new moniker not the distinguished gentleman? Is it now the island gentleman?
Let's just get through this show.
Is this weekend at Bernie's over here?
No, Weekend at Bernie's involved a dead guy.
I was joking.
We're not going to do that.
I'm effing joking.
He brought some of the
And no
Caribbean.
politics, okay? I said no politics on the show.
You brought a little bit of the Caribbean back with you, I think.
Oh, the heat! It is
Oh my
actually
gosh.
hotter here than back there.
Yeah.
Oh, wait till you see this weekend.
Yeah, it's
We
hot.
got a
here.
heat index over a C note this weekend.
Yeah. And you don't have that 12 to 15 mile an hour trade winds coming off.
Yeah, I was going to say, when we're down in the Caribbean, it's hot and humid, but it's
got the
always got a
trade
breeze.
Yeah, I'm very blessed and lucky to be able to do this a couple of times a year, and it's important to spend time with Yonah. It's very important, but it's really good. We get to meet people and family and friends, and it's a lot of fun. But really, it's amazing. You walk down the beach and you start talking to people, and it always gets to real estate.
You guys had a lot of big time news happen while you were gone, Keith Smith.
Yeah, I tried to stay away from watching it. I made a commitment to Yonah that I would keep my phone off. I did, but there's all kinds of news floating around. So if you want to, I'm probably not read up enough on it. But if you want to kick off on something, let me see if I can fake my way around it.
Where do we begin? Swananoa goes under contract, the $3.5 million asking price, 235 acres, pretty darn close to Western Albemarle High School. The chitter chatter in my circles are you're going to see acre plus lots on that property. You're looking at arguably what could be one of the largest developments that's going to come to market in the very near future. The chatter has the folks behind Old Trail as the buyers. We also have the Lewis Mountain property that was purchased by Evergreen.
Yep.
The Logan Foster young agent who's got bright upside, Luke Cole,
Yeah.
had that listing, $1 million out of the gates, $835,000 close price. Curious to see if a posh single-family detached house goes on that property or if it's truly upzoned. We had Richard Price and Roger Voisinay on this show to talk about the Woolland Mills project that Roger's doing. This may be the first upzone project since the new zoning ordinance. Roger and Richard's project.
I can tell you it is.
Probably, yeah.
I can tell. I know for a fact.
This
it is.
Woolland, and they did a master class on what this process has been like for them, sitting in your chairs right there.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time with the zoning officials in Charlottesville. We've had several files that we're working on that have the new multi-use
So how are
designation.
you evaluating those?
Well, there haven't been many sales, and the ones that have occurred are selling at about what they were selling at before the change. So until we actually have some absorption in the market.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. So is this?
Well, I can give you a little perspective on that. As of last week,
My sandals fell off.
oh,
I got to
man,
put them back
I'm
on.
not even wearing my sandals right now. As of last week, only 15 teams have approached the city to pursue projects under the new zoning ordinance. And of those 15, I was told only 4 are legitimate.
Yeah.
So this thing has been in the works for years. And as of right now, we only have 4 legit projects.
So a couple things going on here. One is what Woody just said. So unless you're doing this in cash, right, getting money to go ahead and do this is going to be difficult because Woody can't comp it out because it hasn't been done. So the first couple of transactions are generally people that are cashing in. They're using cash to go ahead and do the transaction. The other thing that's going on, and hats off to Roger, nobody wants to be the first one to go through the brain damage of working with the county, with the city. The only reason I know a little bit about this, we're working with Nicole Scrow, meaning the land trust, to do an affordable housing version of it. And I will tell you...
the title attorney? Nicole?
Nicole, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
she's awesome.
She's a developer too.
And
She closed a business transaction we were a part of. She was a pros pro and representing the seller of that transaction, Chris Fairchild, your friend watching the program.
hey,
right now.
Chris, so we are projecting, just to put a perspective on it, because what you have to do now, because it's over 3, it's a full site plan process. We're projecting about 2 years before we can actually sell something. So between acquisition, going through
The risk on that is obscene.
that's exactly right.
I mean, who would do that?
And we've been talking about this. This is about a 2 to 5 year process. You've got to have to get a couple of these things to go through before they start kind of picking up tempo a little bit, so you can evaluate them. Now, on the land trust side, it's even harder because, we're doing, the value of the land is obviously taken out, so it becomes a little bit more difficult. But, so, hats off to Roger. The people that do this first are really the superheroes.
Oh, and you know how Roger's doing it, right? Did you watch the show?
I did not watch
Oh
the
my
show.
God!
I think I was gone when that happened.
Roger owns the land in Woolen Mills.
Yeah.
He's chopping it up into 4 lots.
Correct.
He's taking one of the 4 parcels, selling it to Richard, the architect,
Yes.
under market value. And he's doing that so Richard does not charge for his architectural services. He's partnered with a builder, selling that to the builder under market value, so the builder doesn't charge for his services. Then he's utilizing the house, keeping the house in play. So that project becomes a little bit easier by keeping the existing structure there.
Right.
And he's going to build 1,500 to 1,600 square foot new houses with an unfinished basement. What do you think the come to market price point is on, and when do you think they are available for purchase?
Well, knowing Roger, there's probably going to be some green tech in the properties. They'll be on the upper end, I would think, for that size of property, but.
1,500 square foot in Willow Mills with an unfinished basement.
How much land?
Postage stamp.
Yeah, it's a little
Got
small
it.
lot.
Probably going to have an 8 in front of it.
High 6s.
Yeah.
High 6s.
That's actually not a bad number.
And when do you think they come to market?
Oh, probably 2 years from now.
A year and change from now.
Yeah.
Do you think?
That I know for a fact. Yeah.
High 6s.
Yeah. And he's ahead of the curve.
He's first.
He's ahead of the curve. Yeah. But you're 100% right. There's only 1 or 2 really legitimate projects that are going through the process, because what happens is when everybody starts taking a look at that, and we talked about this, this is not property owner friendly, this process. So if you wanted to try to do this yourself, you really can't. You've got to structure it the way Roger structured it. It's very smart. So what he's doing is he's bringing everything entitled, right? He's probably doing the horizontal work, the development work. I haven't spoken to Roger about this, but
You should get him on the show.
yeah. So he would do the horizontal work, and then the builder would then build on top of it. It's how we're doing it with Nicole. Nicole is delivering us finished lots, and then we're going to build. The land trust is going to build.
Where are they at?
It's over. I don't think we're quite done with the contract and
Okay.
the feasibility study period stuff. So I'm going to kind of leave that out a little bit.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
But it's in the city for sure. Let's say it's within walking distance to everything that you want to get to on it.
Well, she did 2 fantastic homes right over there at Woolen Mills by the storage sheds.
Yeah. So we're not quite done with the feasibility studies and all this stuff, so I don't want to
Sure.
cross. She is an attorney after all, so I do.
That's something we'll talk about with
She'll get mad at me and text me.
developer Bo Carrington on Tuesday.
Good. Bo's good
This very
people.
topic right here.
Bo's good people.
So what do you guys make of what we've seen so far from, it's no longer the DZO, it's now the NZO. Richard corrected me, the new zoning ordinance. It's not a draft anymore. It's the new zoning ordinance.
Right.
Have we seen anything of merit?
What was that last part? I'm sorry.
Have we seen anything of tangibility, merit, any proof of performance? Any affordability from potential increased
There's
density?
how is there going to be affordability with that? You're just empowering people that have the means to make more money, that's capitalism. There's nothing wrong with it, but
Bingo.
The first one will be the land trust one that we run through, because we're going to be capitalizing on the affordability bonus density that you get on that, but it's very difficult. I mean, the sewer and water and sewer connection, there's sidewalks you have to do, there's erosion control. The amount of site work that's required on those is extremely expensive.
Let's put in perspective the tap, just connecting the water. What are you talking, 19K?
That's about right, I think.
That's about right, but that's only the part of it, though, because now you have to do a bond for that amount, right?
And they don't give you your bond money back, right?
That closed Judah's dad's development company, right, Judah?
Yeah, we're still waiting for the ones on Nassau Street back from 2019.
How long did it take for your dad to get the bond money back? He has not gotten it back.
Yeah. They take
How
it-
is that legal?
I'm sure it's not, but you know,
You're basically saying, how do you go toe-to-toe with the city?
So they're allowed, man, I'll get myself into trouble here. It's just my first show, and I'm going to be in trouble already. So they're allowed to constantly ask for things, right? And then you have to solve these problems. And then they don't tell you all the things that they need until they have different departments need different things, and one department doesn't talk to the other department. If they really want to impact affordable housing in the city of Charlottesville, what they should do is what happened in Portland and Seattle, is streamline the red tape. 25% of new construction is basically red tape. And what they've done in that is if you're doing an affordable housing project, let's say the Land Trust, we get one person that's attached from the city, that's attached to the project, who walks everything through. And sometimes what happens is you're working with Woody, and we're now 6 months into this, and Woody takes another job.
yep.
And guess what happens?
All your institutional knowledge just walked out the door.
And we go all the way back to number one, and then we have to keep on doing it. So when you have somebody walk it through, it helps a lot. But this conversation came up on the beach all the time. You know, how are we going to increase inventory, right? And, you know, how we're going to bring stabilization to the housing market. And, you know, everybody that I was talking to on that, and these are all from all over parts of the country, is we need more. And it's just, you know, when it takes 2 years, it's going to take 2 years to produce 6 affordable housing units. Let that sink in. It's going to take 2 years from today to go through the process, do the horizontal work, do the vertical work, and put affordable housing buyers in there.
How about, and Neil Williamson, I'll get to your comment. Kevin Yancey, I'll get to your comment here. Local newspaper
And he's smiling.
reporter watching the program right now. How about the criteria if you're doing a project that has 9 units or more? Was it 10% of the project has to be
60%
affordable,
AMI.
tied to 60% AMI for
Nobody's gonna-
99 years?
Yeah, and the reason the land trust works so great because we do that.
99
we do a
years.
99 years, but nobody's going to do if the land trust is struggling to put together a 6. This is a vacant lot, folks. This is a vacant lot. This does not even have a house on it. We're going to take probably 2 years to produce 6 units. Something's wrong, coach. And that's what needs to figure out a way to get fixed. If you can streamline that process down, and
You know, if it was perhaps the 12:30 show, and it's not the 12:30 show, it's the Keith Smith show, I would interject by saying,
well, thank
this
God
is-
you're not going to do that.
This is okay. You're right. I'll take.
But go ahead and do it.
No, I mean,
No,
this
go
is-
do it. Go do
This is
it.
why you don't listen to you don't succumb to the influence of activists. You actually listen to true professionals
Yeah.
prior to passing policy.
Well, the policy itself.
These folks all along have said this was. I mean, Neil Williamson said this was ridiculous.
Yeah. So we've been talking about this for a while. There's two sides of the coin, right? There's the policy, there's the zoning, right? But now there's the implementation of it. And if you remember shows back, I kept on saying, great, zoning's one thing, you know, you can get your count up, that's great. But what is it going to look like, and what is it going to take to go ahead and do that? And it is, anything over 3 is just a full blown out, you might as well just think as you're building 300 units. It's just way too much red tape to produce 6 affordable housing units.
El Presidente of the Free Enterprise Forum, Neil Williamson.
Thank you, Neil.
says the inclusionary zoning measures mandated in the new zoning ordinance will freeze large new developments.
Yeah.
The buyout is entirely too high.
Yeah. Well, it's just not going to happen, right? And then what's going to happen, and we talked about this, if anybody thought that this thing gets passed, there's going to be 50,000 new houses here, or residents.
It was done with a lot of love and intended in it, and but it's the old Ronald Reagan quote. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. The unintended consequences to this, I think, is going to work exactly in the reverse, unfortunately.
So what'll happen? There's a pretty neat project that PHA is doing on Cherry, 501 Cherry. So but that's going through the process on it. We'll see if that has a pretty big impact or not. But at the end of the day, in order to produce any affordable housing units, it's going to have to be a nonprofit that's going to do it. But just think about this. So these units that we're going to build, right? So we can't sell them, just as an appraiser's perspective, we can't sell them at today's AMI for much over 200 to 225.
How's that going to work?
So that's what happens. This is where I go knock on doors and raise money, because guess how much it's going to cost us to build them?
I would imagine more than that.
About 500.
Yeah.
Per unit. 450 to 500. That's in today's dollars. That's between the horizontal acquisition and the vertical construction to move in there. So the math difference between the two, we got to go out and find subsidy for. So the good news about 2 years is I got a little bit more time to find money. The bad news is we're going to wait 2 years to build 6 units.
Anything you want to throw into there, Woody Fincham?
It's a shame that they won't make a streamlined process for nonprofits that like what you guys are doing. It would really help you.
Well, I get that. The pushback, though, that I saw out west, the for-profit guys were like, well, hold it, time out.
Yeah, how's that playing field different than our playing field?
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Well, the difference is that they're building this thing at a net loss. They're having to get donation money to do it, to solve a problem that the city was trying to solve in the beginning.
But wouldn't the for-profit, just playing devil's advocate, sake of a talk show with the professor, Woody Fincham, wouldn't the for-profit guys say they're cannibalizing potential market share from us, and they're doing it in a way that gives them opportunities and shortcuts and advantages that we don't have?
This is more for a developer to answer, but my perspective on it would be this. There's never going to be any projects in Charlottesville large enough, at least in the next few years, that's really going to attract any of the substantially large development companies and builders.
And why is that?
There's just no scale to it.
And why is that?
The diminishing return of cost gets factored in, because when you have a lot of units, things get cheaper.
I'm going to get into trouble with my dear friend Ned.
Ned Galloway's watching? Ned Galloway?
The good news is that I think they're starting to have this conversation at the dais at Albemarle County, but the development areas need to grow.
Yeah, 100%. The set-aside development areas are not...
You doing a little puppy thing?
I don't agree with that, but I'm listening. I'm willing to listen.
You don't agree?
I don't agree with that, no.
That the development areas
I do not agree that the development areas should grow.
Really?
Have you seen, has anyone been around Crozet recently?
Yeah.
It is an absolute cluster duck. And the folks that live, and I said quack, quack, cluster duck. The folks that live in Crozet are like, enough already. They're beyond pissed off when it comes to the density that's happened. Their schools, their kids are learning in trailers. They're sitting in traffic. They have to build another school. They're not close to doing that. The quality of life in Crozet 10 years ago, 15 years ago versus now is completely different. Talk to anyone that lives in Crozet and they're like, stop it already.
Yeah, Lake Monticello will have the same
Eventually we got to listen to our taxpayers.
So, okay, got it.
Our voters.
Got it. So if everybody feels that we're in a housing crisis and there needs to be affordable housing, let's assume that that's the case. How's it going to happen, Coach?
Well, Swatanoa, this project we should highlight. 235 acres just went under contract. The asking price was $3.5 million.
That's not going to be affordable.
The price points of those houses are going to be?
It's going to start with a 6 and it's going to climb well over $1 million. But as we know, any new housing alleviates stress on the housing ecosystem. Any supply whatsoever.
There you go. So that's the point I'm making about expanding the growth area. It increases. And
it doesn't have to happen.
I just know this, Jerry, because I was talking to somebody.
Crozet is a designated growth area. Crozet is a growth area. How can we put more housing in Crozet?
So let me try it a different
There's two ways into Crozet.
How do you feel about the urban ring?
I think the urban ring is pretty darn close to capacity. And as Diantha McKeel on this set said this, until the urban ring is at capacity, how do we consider expanding the development area? Exact words.
Yeah,
She
but
sat
that-
next to you and said that.
But that conversation, he's playing tennis here, back and forth.
Welcome back, Keith Smith.
But that conversation's starting to happen at the board level about, it didn't get shut down right away. And Neil reported on that.
He sent a tweet, and Neil's watching right now.
he
He did a tweet from
Okay,
the
to me, that's a
meeting, which
report.
we're referencing.
Yeah. So that conversation,
Neil, that tweet continues to ring in infamy.
but it's happening. But so look, all you got to do is look at the numbers. The one, and this, we'll get Woody into the conversation, right? The product type that has been more stable in the last 12 to 24 months would be single-family detached or townhomes. I'm talking about which one is more stable?
Probably townhomes.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Why are you saying that?
Well, I mean, if you want to buy at the lowest rung in the market right now, you're going to have to buy a townhome, right?
Yes.
And what are we talking? $400,000 to even start talking this conversation in Charlottesville and Albemarle? I mean, when you get over to the Valley, you can find some in the high twos, but you're going to live in some place like Grottoes or those places, which are wonderful communities. They're just if you're commuting to Charlottesville
It's
every
a
day,
drive.
it's a long ways. But yeah, I mean, I sort of agree with Keith on this in the sense that I think that, it's supply and demand. There's such a limited amount of supply of land and places where you can build. The only way to normalize pricing is to have more of it. However, we have a lot of investors right now that are going to buy, things become available, they're going to snatch it up.
You should put that in perspective. In fact, Kevin Yancey in Waynesboro says, how about 3 corporations owning 200,000 to 300,000 homes nationwide that were converted from single-family homes strictly to rental for pure profit?
Yep.
You have a client base, not saying that it's major corporations like this, but you're seeing some of this deal flow.
Oh, absolutely.
But not at those huge numbers. And he's talking about like Phoenix and
He's talking like
Nashville.
Blackstone and BlackRock.
Yeah,
right here.
Blackstone just had like a 200-unit subdivision in Oklahoma. It's an entire rental community, every unit in there, and they're holding it for the long term because, I mean, their return on the rent's ridiculous right now.
Right, it's genius. It's genius. Put in perspective what you're seeing.
It's just folks that are looking to buy in the upzoned areas, where we're, CX3 and CX5, I believe, is the zoning. I'm probably wrong because I don't have it right here in front of me. But, the folks are buying those with hopes to add additional units. That zoning also allows you to have mixed use, so you can actually have some commercial with it. But I haven't seen anything that's taking advantage of that yet. I don't know. We've had probably 5 or 6 deals now where we've worked on where they were buying it with hope that they could do something more density related with the property.
Jamie Turner, we got to make sure we make a mention of this. He's asking Woody Fincham specifically the process of becoming an appraiser.
Oh, wow, cool.
He says, can you ask Woody the process to become an appraiser? He's gone over it before, but would love to hear it again. So we should save that. I know you have something to say on this topic. I'm just trying to keep the conversation going.
Got it. So back on the attached, I pull Albemarle County because Albemarle County has 80 or 90% of the attached products. So 2024, this is new construction, this is everything. There was 236 sales to date, year to date. Median sales price was $436. Last year, same product type, same county, same timeline, there was 263 sold. Does anyone guess what the median sales price was?
Woody Fincham?
2023?
I don't
This
know.
year, 436,
Probably 400.
436.
Same.
Same exact number.
Wow.
So that's because there was all these subdivisions that got approved, and a lot of it is new construction to go ahead and do that. But if you group everything in, we're 4.5% up higher, which includes a single-family detached. So if I went and did the single-family detached numbers, I guarantee you the percentage jump on that is much higher.
Joe Meyer having some fun. Good morning, gentlemen, and Woody.
Oh.
Joe, that's Woody's boy.
Yeah, I love Joe. He's
That's
awesome.
Woody's boy.
I'd rather not be a gentleman because Joe's not a gentleman either.
Where's Joe watching?
Out of Louisiana.
There we go. Joe, we love when you watch the program. We love the humor you add to the comment section.
Some good fisherman and loves good food. If you ever in New Orleans, he's the guy to take you around.
Randy O'Neill watching the program. James Watson, your brother-in-law. Hello.
Hey.
Corbin Snow, welcome to the show. Thank you for watching the program. Rob Neal watching the show. The who's who of Charlottesville on the program right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm seeing elected officials from 4 different jurisdictions watching Real Talk with Keith Smith right now.
Hey.
Do we talk Swananella? Do you want to do some crystal ball projections or some cocktail hour conversations? We're just missing the cocktail.
What jurisdiction does that fall under?
That's Augusta, right?
That's Augusta.
Yeah.
I mean, Augusta is
Okay.
they're pretty easy to work with, at least from what I've seen on my end. I'm sure, like any municipality, they've got their speed bumps too. But, you know, I don't know. I'm a little mixed on it, to be honest with you. I hope they don't do a huge density up there just because it kind of takes away from the bucolic nature of where it is.
236 acres in Afton.
Yeah, so, you know,
$3.5 million ask, under contract right now.
yeah.
That's a lot of rooftops.
Look, the
could
views
be.
are off the charts.
Oh my God,
It's going to be,
that's a mountain.
yeah, I think the numbers that you quoted are going to be light,
What do you mean?
800. I think you're going to be looking somewhere north of $1 million when
Oh.
this is all.
On the entry?
They're going to have to raise
By the
it.
time it's done, my God, they got to, what they have to go through to develop that and build on it. We'll be talking about this as long as you'll have me for another 2 or 3 years, right? Before we even see anything come out of the ground.
Would you call that Central Virginia?
Oh,
That's Central Virginia, right?
It's right on the edge of the Shenandoah Valley, so no, I wouldn't really consider it. I think once you get over the mountain range, you're in
That's
the
a valley.
valley.
It's
Yeah.
You say that's the valley? That's right on the cusp, right?
Somebody who's lived there needs to answer that
Oh,
question.
Kevin Yancey, that's a great question for you. John Blair, that's a great question for you.
What kind of views do they have off of the property?
Pretty sick views.
Yeah.
I've
So
played some
it-
golf there. They're pretty sick views.
Anybody building that development would be crazy not to capitalize on that one fact. You know, panoramic views of
That's
the
what I'm trying
valley.
to tell you. The numbers on
Yeah,
that.
it's going to
is
be a
just gonna-
second home community
it's
for a
gonna
lot of
be
people.
off-
Oh, you think it will be a second home community? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you get away for the weekend.
And the question becomes, do they keep the golf course? Do they keep
No, I don't
that?
think the golf course is staying.
Yeah, got it. Because they need it for the house.
Exactly.
Well, that
Single
that
family
golf course is
detached,
rough.
Albemarle
And the golf
County.
course was a goat track. It was a goat track.
Albemarle County, single family detached, year to date, 24, 445 units sold, year to date. 660 is the median sales price. This is everything, right? New construction and existing. 23, 449, so 469, so we're a little bit down, but the number was 615. So my point we're making is the attached product in Albemarle County stabilized,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of it all of a sudden started coming to market that started 4, 5, 6 years ago. It just happened to be timed right.
Supply and demand.
There you go. And on the single-family detached, we're up 45, if I'm doing the math right, 45 grand year over year. Median prices, I'm sure, once we take a look at it a little bit harder. But anyway, there you go.
What do you think of that, Woody Fitcham?
I mean, it tracks. I mean, with all the data that we run in our office, I mean, we're doing a ton of attached homes. We do a lot of work for Gray Fox Mortgage, Todd Jenkins and his team over there, and they work with Greenwood. And
I've got a deal going with Greenwood, and Todd's doing a great job for us.
yeah, Todd's wonderful. I've known Todd ever since he was a baby loan officer like 20-some years ago. I was a baby appraiser at the same time.
Got to answer the question on how to become an appraiser.
And Wahoo89 watching on YouTube, he says, I grew up in Rockbridge County, go Who's, and he's watching from, is it Gallatin, Tennessee? Right
wow.
now.
Who is this? I'm sorry?
Watching Wahoo89 is
Oh.
his handle on YouTube.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know where that is in Tennessee.
Do you want to highlight the appraisal process? How
Yeah,
to become an appraiser?
it's long and boring, but I'll try to make it succinct. So becoming an appraiser is very difficult because it's still mired in an old apprenticeship type system, which is a good thing because you need to have real world experience before you start, working on appraisal work, particularly for lenders. But you have to find a mentor, and finding a mentor is very difficult because
You're training your competition.
exactly.
And plus, appraisers are not the most personable people.
Oh,
in the
Woody
world.
Fincham is a gem.
Woody's unique.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's more of me out there. There's a lot of folks that are doing, but we're all.
did I just get myself into trouble?
No, not at all. I agree with you. I mean, most appraisers are very introverted, and they.
Well, because they're used to working alone in front
Yeah,
of
exactly
computers.
Well, and people
Yeah.
yell at them all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm not making half of my clients mad and half of them happy, I'm probably not doing something.
You're doing your
right.
job wrong.
Yeah. The mentorship can come before or after, but then you've got to become a certified residential appraiser. You got to have 200 hours of classroom time.
That's a lot.
It is, and then if you want to be a certified general appraiser, which does commercial work and non-residential work, you're looking at 300 hours, and you have to have a college degree to get your CG as well.
Dang.
Yeah, it's.
Maybe you're highlighting why we have a shortage.
I don't know that we necessarily have a shortage. We've got a lot of appraisers who have removed themselves from the lending game because they're using appraisal management companies that are. You've essentially got like 8 or 9 major appraisal management companies out there, and they do all the hiring for, they procure appraisers for lenders across the country, and they are running an oligopoly. I mean, they can set the market rate, and proof of it here in Charlottesville, I get a much higher median fee than someone in Northern Virginia because there's so many appraisers in Northern Virginia.
And
they're paying them work that we'll get $750 for. They're paying them $200-300 to do. And you can't do quality work at that price point.
Just to tell you how, just to change gears a little bit, the impact of what we do, or the impact of the internet and technology. My brother-in-law, James, is on a plane from Poland to here, watching the show on a plane, and he's messaging me, "Great show, guys." So he's on a plane from Warsaw, Poland, to here, watching the show.
You're getting props from people in Tennessee and Louisiana right now.
I mean, it's not about the show and about me. It's just the technology that you can sit in a plane.
Small world.
Man,
it's getting smaller.
So some insight on the Swannanoa thing. This is from Kevin Yancey, who lives in Waynesboro. He would know about this. He goes, on Swannanoa, there are parts of that development that are split between Augusta and Nelson, depending on what side of the mountain you're looking at.
Well, that throws an interesting wrinkle in the process.
He says Phil Delaney, who's passed away, his estate now is managing his many holdings. Many of those holdings are on the market for sale now, including a fantastic piece of property on Ivy Road, which Andrew Hardy has the listing. Phil Delaney's Swannanoa Castle property is actually split in all 3, Augusta, Nelson, and Albemarle.
No kidding.
Which was put on the feed. And this is an interesting comment from the mayor of McIntyre, Bill McChesney. He says, is that Swannanoa development not against a national park? And how does that affect the development process?
Hugely. So let me make sure I understand, because I haven't read up on this, so I just want to make sure I got it.
I think you may be looking at the next big project in the area here.
Let me just ask the question.
Please.
And make sure I heard you, because my hearing aids are not working right. So this development is going to be in 3 different jurisdictions?
No, the Swannanoa project, parts of it are split between Augusta and Nelson.
Okay.
Now he's talking the Swannanoa Castle, which is a different property. It's
Correct.
in 3 jurisdictions, Augusta, Nelson, and Albemarle.
So the golf course is in 2 jurisdictions, which is going to be
Parts of it.
Yeah. That complicates things on a magnitude that I can't explain. But if you think this is complicated, it gets even more complicated because you have to go through 2 separate processes. 2 separate rezonings, more than likely, 2 separate site plan processes, and oh, by the way, backing up to the National Forest, you're going to end up, Army Corps of Engineers get involved in projects of this size.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge environmental study on that.
Environmental studies.
I guarantee you there's something that's endangered within proximity of the property.
Well,
So,
some caterpillars or something.
it'll be something.
So this may be a great conversation for a talk show amongst 3 guys at the moment, but the road from this conversation to reality is extremely long, extremely expensive, and can blow up at any given moment.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, the carrying costs to get to start putting finished products in place, you'd have to have, in order to get it, you're going to have a very high price point on it.
Yeah, I'm not in the room.
Kevin pushes back on Bill McChesney's comment. He says, it is not by the national park. National Forest property. That is further east,
Okay.
down the Nelson side. So he's pushing back on what McChesney said.
Irregardless,
And I love this. We're having conversations with everybody on the internet right now.
and a guy in a plane.
It's fantastic.
Irregardless, the phase one environmental, the erosion and control, all this stuff is going to be very expensive. The way this thing is set up, it's on a study period,
Yeah.
and it's.
I mean, the reality is someone's going to pay close to $3.5 million to this.
and it may not even come to fruition.
And if you're going to pay close to $3.5 million to this, you're going to have done some due diligence.
I mean, they ought to
So
take
how much
adva-
you think that's going to cost?
The due diligence? The period?
No. Timeline. If
How much do you think the closing price for the 235 acres is?
No, the purchase price, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about what do you think the due diligence cost is going to be on
This
this?
is completely up your alley here. This is not my.
No, I think you're going to nail it.
This is not my wheelhouse at all.
I think you're going to nail it.
I would imagine you're a ways away from seeing any kind of housing here.
And here's an appraisal thing. Any appraiser watching will get the joke, but it's an interim use thing now. So take the property the way it sits, because those buildings are going to be there for a while yet. Turn it into a horror movie set and lease it out to some movie studios, because that hotel is freaky and scary.
Oh, you're talking about the late Phil Delaney's hotel atop Afton Mountain.
Yeah.
With that ridiculous view.
Yeah.
I think it was was it previously a Howard Johnson?
I think it was.
It was, yeah. They used to actually have a Howard Johnson's.
With a restaurant there as well.
Real honest to
Yeah.
God. Yeah, so if that study period is anything less than 6 months, I'd be surprised. It's probably close to a year. It's probably $500,000 to $750,000 worth of work.
How many houses?
I would have to look. That's part of the problem, because
How much water do they have up there? I mean,
And how much is actually
I'm
developable?
just talking about, let's go back to our conversation about the city zoning, right? Just opening up the zoning ordinances. Now you've got to open up two separate zoning ordinances, one for Nelson and one for Augusta County, and find out how much of it's in Augusta, how much is in Nelson, how is that all going to work? Are they similar zoning ordinances? Do they have different density requirements? Anytime you have a project that is split between two or more jurisdictions, it is ridiculously complicated.
Do we want to make any predictions? Guys, this is so fun. I'm having a great time with you guys. The band's back together, and I'm very happy. Do we have any predictions on...
I got to take a nap.
You got to take a nap?
I got to take a nap.
Folks, it's not because of his wisdom and experience. It's
No, that
because
hurt.
the man has not slept. He
Got into
hopped the
3:30
plane, right?
Got into 3:30
So
this
you're pretty
morning.
much on a bender right now.
I'm on a bender. Whatever. This is a 60+ version of a bender. It's not a bender. It's like, oh my God, I got in at 3:30, woke up at 5:30, and I'm on about 12 cups of coffee.
Do we want to make any predictions on what is going to happen with the Lewis Mountain rancher that was listed at $1 million that just closed at $835,000, purchased by Evergreen,
Well, so
the builder,
So that's-
remodeler, developer?
yeah, so I can tell you that's a pretty simple question. They're just going to go.
I would say the path of least resistance, put $250,000 into it and come on the market at $1.5 million, $1.6 million.
Or I'd have to relook at the site plan and look everything like that. Throw a second or third unit on there. You know, if you don't disturb so many square feet.
303 Alderman Road, if you want to take a look, Woody.
Thank you.
303 Alderman Road.
If you
trying to
don't
find it.
disturb a certain percentage of the lot, you don't have to do erosion control, yada, yada, yada. I again, not knowing the geometry of everything, either demo it and put 3 homes on there.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I think the expense to do that's a bit,
That's what I'm saying.
a bit thing. But they'll do something very similar.
We saw that Spanish hacienda
Yeah.
in Ivy, remember?
I
Next to
remember.
that lot that they were going to build
I
on.
remember that.
A spec house.
I remember that.
And they turned that Spanish hacienda in Ivy into a beautiful
But
house.
here's the difference.
Right?
Yes, but here's the difference.
You remember?
I do.
No.
I remember. Hello, my name is Keith.
Yeah.
No, I just lost it. Thanks.
No, come on.
Miller, you got to get back. Oh man, okay. But that particular piece of property, though, you couldn't by right put 2 or 3 more. Well, it would be 2 more homes on there. Here's the difference: if you can physically fit it on there, you can carve that up, much like Roger's doing. That's literally what Roger's doing, right? And Roger's kind of laying the groundwork for everybody, as a template to follow. Big words, template. Used another big word.
So you say you're a former developer. Lewis Mountain has homes that trade for $1.5 million and up, $2 million easy. $835 purchase price.
I can assure you this: it's not going affordable.
Yeah, my question on it is this: that's not an area where you're going to see a lot of. If they start doing this in that neighborhood, it's going to change the entire
What's the
composition.
geometry of the lot?
I haven't looked at it, but I'm just looking at the
If there's
pictures of the house.
If there's enough geometry on the lot
I can tell you
that you could put, an ADU, a second unit in the back or something like that, I just don't have the geometry in the layout.
1,900 square feet.
No, I'm talking about the lot shape and where does it back up to an alley. I just don't have that committed to memory.
0.31 acres.
Yeah.
How about 835?
I have it here for you in just a second.
Yeah, the geometry is what is more important, not the size.
What if you put 250 into it? Right? Then at that point you're in $1,085,000.
And if you can carve off.
Come on market, $1,400,000, $1,500,000, $1,600,000. New roof, new HVCs, do essentially what they did with that Spanish hacienda.
Yeah, but the guys over at Evergreen are also developers, so
Yeah.
they're going to be looking to capitalize on the new zoning ordinance in some way.
There's a little bit of topography to the property, but it's a typical corner lot. I mean,
It's a corner lot?
but that house sits right in the middle of it.
Yeah, does it? Yeah, okay.
I would almost think you'd want to rip it off.
Well,
You're saying raise the house. Dang.
I mean, if you want to maximize
What do
what
they
you can
pay
do
for it?
there,
$835,000.
so figure $100,000 to tear it down. Oh, you're kidding me with the permitting? And,
No. I think it's $100,000 to tear it down. I
Yeah.
just don't think. I mean, just one
Yeah.
man's opinion.
No,
I don't
no,
think
I'm
this is
just
the
doing-
path it's going to go.
I'm doing math in
Yeah.
my head. So you paid what'd you say, 800 for it?
$835,000.
Let's call it 800. 100 to tear
No,
it down.
I got a calculator.
Okay, so that's 935,
Yeah.
right? Then you've got to develop it. Let's say you could put 3 on it, so
Okay.
that's probably going to be $200,000 worth of development work. So you got 1.1.
Okay. 935 plus 200,000. I'm with you.
You got 1.1, right?
1135.
1.135, and then you could
You got to start building stuff.
you got to build stuff on it. But I'm just trying to figure out what you could sell them for, and if you could sell, so you could probably get about $3 million worth of sales out of that.
For 3?
Yeah,
You can sell them $1 million a pop?
Yeah, I think
On
so.
0.31?
I think so. Yeah.
0.1 a pop?
Okay, let's call it 850. So 850.
What's the building cost on that?
Yeah, that's the trick.
What's the building? I mean, Roger's talking about.
The math's not going to work.
That's what I'm saying. That math ain't going to work on that.
You're gonna have to sell them for 1.1, 1.2, 1.3.
And you're priced out of the market.
You're priced out of the market. Yeah, great.
I mean, you buy a brand new single family.
But these guys are sharp over there.
I know they are.
And so they got a plan. We just don't know what it is yet.
Well, that's why.
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
the sake of a talk show.
you can go up to 12 units on the zoning.
We don't want the facts. God forbid.
Sake of a talk show. Bill McChesney says it was a Howard Johnson restaurant with cottages around
Ooh.
it, a golf station at the US 250 level. The motel on top was at one time a Holiday Inn with an Aberdeen bar and restaurant in it. And in the winter, there was a small ice rink.
I love when this happens.
What's that?
It's when
Yeah.
we're past time here.
No, we are past time. That's good. It was easy peasy, Sunday breezy. Judah Wickhauer behind the camera. Woody Fincham, some closing thoughts, my friend.
Just happy to come back on the show and
Love you, Woody.
chat with my friends, and it's always interesting. It's
You
real
know any?
estate.
You know any friends?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Sitting
lucky-
with them right here.
You're a lucky guy.
We're sitting with them right here. Keith Smith, some closing thoughts.
So I'm thinking you're going to see at the end of a little guesstimation here, a little crystal ball. I think you're going to see by the end of the second quarter about 1,700 transactions happen, which is going to beat this time last year. I think you're going to be holding about 460, 465 is the median sales price. But again, to put it in perspective, compared to 2017, which was the last time we were around 1,700 on it, we're 46% up in value. That's the full car footprint. So from 2017 to now, we're about 45, 46% up in price, and we're about flat if we were back, looking at 2017.
Keith Smith, Woody Fincham, Keith Smith, Judah Wickower, online at realtalkwithkeithsmith.com, wherever you get your podcasting and social media content. Click the Partners tab on the website. Look at them
Please.
on screen. The trusted people in this game we call life. I Love Siebel Show, 1 hour and 7 minutes. So long, everybody. That was fantastic.
Thanks, guys. Woody, thank you. Thank you for the last minute filling in.